that's the only way a lot of people, wrestlers could work in Tennessee, because they got their full run on what we call gimmicks. They got their full run on it. So if you get some of them would have even worked there for nothing just to sell their gimmicks.
Some of them did, practically.
Stop that. I can't believe you're talking about Nick Goulas. And when Jerry Jarrett took over, it was better, a lot better. But let's say, take the Fabs. I've talked to the Fabs before, and when I said something about them, they heard about it. Oh, they got all upset, I guess. But the question was, when they took Steve Kern, who was just a wrestler, great, his wrestling didn't suffer when they made him a Fab and teamed him with Stan Lane. But they went from third match on the card and just being on the card and just being just a wrestler to being something special. When they made them the Fabs, they did all these videos on them, and say a house that was doing, say it was a $1,500 arena, 1,500 seat arena, it might be doing, say, in the 400 range, 500. But when the Fabs, the first time they were there, they sold it out. No angle, no nothing. You just got to see them. And of course, they were dressed up, and they took that Sharp Dressed Man by ZZ Top, and they dressed up, and that kind of became their entrance song. They were hot, really, really hot. But anyway.
Well, do you know what? Because you mentioned the Fabs, how much do you think they made at a gimmick table at the Mid-South Coliseum of a Monday?
A piece?
Well, collectively. It's collective tag team.
Probably $1,000.
So $1,000 on a Monday just in photos, and that's it?
Yeah.
What else? Would they sell anything else?
I think they made that individually.
Oh.
I think that was the $1,000 after they had split. That meant there would be, and this was by when they used to have what they call the 4x6 photos that you could have done. When they weren't 8x10s, but 3x5. Let's say that.
Okay.
They were selling it years ago for $1. And I said, guys, I'm a little me. I'm saying, I think we could get two. Oh no. We'll never get two. Well, I said, well, try it. And they put it out there for $2. Guess what? They still sold. So now all of a sudden, the wrestlers have just doubled their payday on Monday night, and the fans didn't really notice it that much, or they wouldn't have bought it. But yeah, the Fabs, they made more off what we call the gimmick table than they made actually wrestling. So.
Did they, because I know like in Smokey and stuff, you would man your own gimmick table, but in Memphis in the heyday, would all the wrestlers man the gimmick tables at that time as well?
Well, we did sometimes. I mean, you could go out there and because Miss Jarrett, who was Jerry Jarrett's mother, she would say, hey, can you come out tonight and sign some of your pictures? And she was saying it very nicely. She wasn't ordering you out there because she was getting about 25% of it herself just to man the table, which was fine, really. But a lot of places would just sell you a picture and not even tell you. I think in the Jim Crockett era, I asked Rock and Roll one time when they got hot, and when they were doing that sellout business, how much did you make off gimmicks? And they looked at me like, shut the hell up. Don't even remind us of it. Because they was making nowhere close to what they should have been making. I mean, they were hot. If people can, let's say you're a big star and you would go out there and your pictures would be on the table. And if the fans could come up and buy a picture and get you to sign it right in front of them, that was a big deal. because now not only would they get the picture, they would get to talk to you for 30 seconds, not long, because they had a big long line behind them, and people say, hurry up, let's go. But that was the main selling point, is that they get a few seconds with you. And it was, fans loved that. And the wrestlers loved it too, because they were making money.
And they could scout some of the women as well.
Stop it, James. The wrestlers weren't like that, and you know that. Stop it.
What seat are you sitting in tonight, my dear?
What seat am I sitting in?
No, not you. I'm role playing a fabulous one, saying, oh, so what are you in, like 4F tonight? Oh, right, okay. Keep an eye out for you, and
Stop it. But anyway, it was the gimmick business was never lost on the promotions. They knew it was there. But when the wrestlers finally found out that it was there, now let's talk WWE just for a minute. Hey, just remember, we're going down the road. We're in the car. We're talking. The WWF were some of the biggest thieves in the world. You get your royalty check. Now, I didn't expect my stuff to sell, because I was like middle of the card, and I was like a heel, and I was like a manager. So you wouldn't expect that stuff to sell. But I've talked to some of the other guys, and they says, brother, they would get like a percentage of, like it was less than 10% they would get. And then they would give them the old song and dance. Well, we got to have them produced, and we got to pay for that. And we got to ship them, and then we got to put them out there, and we got to do all this. Well, hey, that's part of selling something. You got to make it available. Yeah, we got all that. And some guys were making like, I'll go back a little further. A guy wrote a book. I can't remember the guy.
Oh, I know who it is. We've talked about this. It's William Regal, isn't it?
Yes, it is Regal.
Yeah.
And I says, and I'm thinking, and they sold the book for like $20, $25. I said, well, those royalties have to be pretty good. He went, please. He said, mate, with that proper British accent. He said, mate. And what he was saying was, no, it's nowhere like you would imagine. I said, what do you mean? And I said, what did you get per book? And you know what and I've said this before, if anybody paid attention, which they probably don't. He said he made like $1.25 or $1.50 a book. I said, that was your royalty? He said, yep, that was it. Because now with Amazon, which is what I deal with for my books, you can set your own price. I mean, they have a price there, but I mean, if you're going to sit at a table and people want to buy your book, and you're going to sign it and you're going to customize it to Bill or whatever, and then he has that for a lifetime, and he gets the book. Yeah, it's worth a few bucks, because he's got something that becomes a keepsake of his wrestling days and who his favorites were, and he can show that to people. And it's not in my books. I'm gonna say this, folks. It's a good read. It really is. But and you have never brought this up, James. I don't cuss, and I don't call anybody a drug addict. And I don't call anybody a drunk, and I don't call anybody that does, sinful things. I talk about it, but I don't judge them. It's what I'm saying. If they want to do that, that's fine. I'm just the reporter, and writing it down the way I see it. But never did I disrespect anybody, because I don't believe in that. I really don't. Unless I'm on this show and I can call somebody just a no good son of a bitch.
Oh yeah.
But that's not really knocking them. That's just a personality review, I guess. But he made nothing on that, and I'm sure that, say, a T-shirt. If they sell a T-shirt, and it costs $7 or $8 to make a T-shirt, they sell it for $20, but the guy don't make that much money off the T-shirt. He makes $1.50 probably. So, but anyway, that's the way they do it. Till finally, the talent wised up to it and says, well, hey, we can do this ourselves. And of course, promoters, they didn't like that. They didn't like guys going into the business for themselves, unless it's the ones who didn't pay that well. And they said, well, just selling gimmicks would be a way to appease these guys, and they'll work for these crappy payoffs we give them if we let them sell the stuff. And so they learned, so everybody learned something about marketing and what people will take and what deals you can make with them. So that's just the seedier side of the wrestling business.